comments tonight. That makes me excited. Hello, Rebecca. Linda's here. Kylie's here. Jennifer's here. Okay, guys. Jennifer snuck into the group. Okay, I call her Shorty. She's not a cup maker. She's known me the longest out of everybody that is still currently in my life, besides my parents and like close relatives and stuff. She's the one that has been putting up with my bullshit since we were in the 7th grade. So she snuck in, and we actually figured out tonight that we've known each other 20 years this year, which is incredibly, I mean, good on her. She deserves a trophy, but oh my word, 20 years, we're getting old. Swap over. Hello, good evening, everybody. Oh, no, that's not the one that I want. That's the one that I want. Hello. Because it has a little bit down the bottom. I thought that looked very strange for a second then. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Natalie. Hi, Nicole. Okay, so we are doing a design alive. I just thought it would be fun. I haven't seen it done before, so I thought, bugger it, let's do it. And during the week, I put up a picture where it had A, B, or C, and you could vote for the kind of cup that you wanted to see, like the style, so soda can 1. A theme, which we had bees, dragons, and what was the third theme? Oh, you should know this, Laura. Dragons, bees, and it's been a long week, guys. Leopards! Leopard print. Dragons, bees, or leopards print, and obviously bees 1. And then I also gave you a choice of using glitters, inks, or mica powders, and mica powders 1. Now, I have done several bee themed cups and coasters and stuff before, but my method has always been to do a glitter as a base coat. I usually use a really yellow gold for the base coat. And then over that, I usually do inks. So doing it all with mica powders is actually pushing me to do something that I have never done before. So the theme I have done, but using all mica powders, I haven't done that yet. So this is going to be new for me as well. But because it's bees, on top of the soda can that we're going to be doing with mica powders, I thought it would be a good opportunity to turn it into one big bee honeycomb tutorial for you all. So we're also going to do the acrylic slurp cups with the little dome lids. We're going to do one of them where I'm using mica powders and alcohol inks, and we're also going to do a coaster to match the cup, which also uses mica powders and alcohol inks. Now, to do it the way that I usually do it, if you want to use glitter, where I use the gold mica powder in the acrylic cup and the coaster, you just swap that out for glitter. Okay, and then the inks would be exactly the same way, and then that gives me an opportunity to show you how I usually do it as well. So, I'm just going to quickly catch up on comments. Oh, you didn't see it? Well, if you scroll through the group, you'll see where everybody was voting. But yeah, they had A, B, or C. So the choices were a dragon theme, a bee theme, or a leopard theme, glitters, inks, or micas, and either a 20-ounce skinny, a 17-ounce soda can, and I think, was it a 14-ounce mug? I'm trying to fingerprint my phone with my glove on. It's been a long week. No, it was a 12-ounce standard or a 20-ounce skinny, right? So the soda can 1, we're going to be using a 17-ounce soda can. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they look like Coke. I mean, this one's really stretched out. It looks more like a Monster can than a Coke can, but the little 12-ounce ones look like Coke cans. And where's the lid? If I knew where the lid was, I'd show you the lid. Okay, let me get back to you with the lid. But basically, the lid is like a flip-up straw, and then it has a straw built into... Oh, I just found it. It's behind the acrylic cup we're doing. Found it. Alright, so it does have a detachable straw, so you can put the straw through the wash as well. And then the top, instead of a slide lid, it's actually a little plastic bit that pops up to become a straw as well, right? And that's why it's called the soda can. So, hi Sharon, hi Christy, hi Yvonne. I'm going to hit a couple of magic buttons. The first one is that one, and then that one. You can see my heat gun in the back. Don't look at my heat gun. Let's just move this way. And this is the soda can. Now the soda can does tip off down the bottom here. As you can see, I actually tape this bit off and I leave this bit silver and leave the base free. Okay, I have also spray painted all the way up to the top, and then I just have some painter's tape and some baking paper there so I can obviously get it off of my noodle. Now Chelsea Blue Designs does sell turner attachments for the soda cans. I only have one of those. Beats me where it is. I went looking for it, obviously couldn't find it. So pool noodles work as well. You just have to really jam it in there, which is why I recommend wrapping the pool noodle with baking paper and then taping that down, because obviously even if the resin does come up onto the baking paper, it's not going to stick. So I'm still going to be able to get this off without it sticking to the pool noodle. Excuse me. Hi Liv, I'm coming to see you for, on Sunday. But I will message you about that. Can you just message me so I don't forget to message you after the live? But because we are using mica powders, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And that is, I want to do, instead of having the normal honeycomb pattern that you see, I want to have the outline of the honeycomb pattern in a chocolate brown colour. And then we're going to go over it with the unforgettable Aussie Gold, which is a pigment powder. It's a mica powder, but it's really pretty. It looks like glitter. I've actually used it on the one that we'll be doing later. Okay, this is onto a clear base. I didn't spray paint that, but that is actually technically mica powder. Okay, so we're going to do it a little bit differently. So with that in mind, I didn't have any brown spray paint, so I used New Copper, which is a Aussie export paint. Okay, because I didn't have brown, but we are using Nut Brown from A1 Pigments to do the base coat, and it is a beautiful chocolate color. All right, so tonight we're going to do the base coat on the Designer Live cup. I'm also going to show you how to put the design on the cup that I've already based, which I just showed you, and then we're going to pour our coaster as well. And then Sunday when you come back, we'll be ready to do all of the top layers, and you'll get to see the Peekaboo design and everything like that. So I'm just going to, I've already got my epoxy mixed. I've got 20 mils. It will probably be more than enough for this cup. But especially when I'm doing mica powders, I like to make my epoxy a little bit thicker, just to make sure I get that really good coverage. So I'm just going to mix the Nut Brown into my epoxy, and I'm using Diamond Cote tonight. I'm still stuck on the Diamond Cote, although I did order some of the Amazing Clear Cast Ultra, the new one with the UV stabilizer in it, because from what I'm hearing, it's better than EX, and you all know how I love my EX74. So I thought I'm going to get some of that, and I'll be the judge of that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it and try it and see if it really is better than my beloved EX, because the only reason I started using EX74 in the first place was because I was an Amazing Clear Cast user, and then we couldn't get any stock because this was before COVID hit. Australia changed the laws in regards to, or maybe it was America, but somebody changed the laws in regards to putting epoxy on an aeroplane, so then it had to come by ship. So when I ran out of epoxy, everywhere was out of stock, so I switched to the EX74, and I actually fell in love with it and decided that I wasn't going to go back to Amazing Clear Cast. But now this new one is out, and they're saying it's better than the EX. I'm going to give it a go. Hi, Angela. You haven't missed much. We're just about to start. Okay, so I have my brown mixed into my epoxy. And apparently it's already on the cup as well. I'm going to dump it on. Now, especially when using mica powders with anything, I highly recommend with your base coat, you try and base spray a colour as close as you can. Or if you can't, if it's a dark colour, spray paint black. If it's a light colour, spray paint white. As you'll see in the cup that I'm doing where I've already put the base on. I didn't spray paint that because it's a clear acrylic cup. I just wanted to see what would happen if I put the Aussie Gold straight onto the tumbler so it had a transparent look. That's purely for experiment. That acrylic cup. Plus, I think it'll look pretty from the inside, especially once the spray paint goes over the top to create that peekaboo. From the inside, it's going to look really pretty. Now, if you're doing full coverage with micas mixed or pigments mixed into epoxy, you will find as it continues to turn and it starts to cure, for some reason, nobody's ever been able to tell me why, but for some reason, micas love running away from the edge. Right? No matter what you do, no matter how thick you make the coat, they are always going to pull away from the edge. Okay? One way of preventing this, if you're putting it straight onto stainless steel or something like that, would be to sand around your rims, and that can also help it stick a little bit better. But when you've spray painted it, you're going to get it pulling away. All you need to do is for the first 30 minutes or so is just baby it. Just watch it and just pull it back down and around. If you end up with like streaks because it's starting to get really thick, once you've pulled it down to where you want it to be again, and depending on how long this live takes, I might be able to show you an example, just hit it with a little bit of heat to get that resin to level out again, and then you'll be right as rain. There we go. I was a little bit worried about using copper as the base, but that was the closest to the brown that I had. But I think that's come up quite nicely. Natalie, this is a mica powder mixed into resin. That's why I'm crapping on about mica powders and resin. It's nut brown from A1 Pigments. From memory, I think this is one, he does sample packs. I think you pay a few dollars and he sends you a couple of grams of a range of colours. Because there's not a lot in the jar, so I think it was part of my sample pack when I first found him. But it is D for dog 5411 is the code. I'm pretty sure it's a 5 and not an S, but but it's called nut brown anyway. Okay, so that's going to settle. As you can see, we've still got blahs. So every live I say I really need to put this on a hook. I need it just hanging just there so I don't have to bend all the way down to the floor. Just going to hit it with a little bit of heat. See if we can get it to level out. Okay, so this is going to be, oh my goodness, Laura, use your English. Remember, at the beginning of the live, I said that I wanted to try, it's not a reverse peekaboo as such, but instead of having the base show through with the honeycomb pattern, I want this brown to show through as the lines only of the honeycomb pattern. So the actual inside of the honeycomb pattern will be this one, and this will just show up from underneath with the honeycomb pattern. So we're trying something a little bit different, but that, don't use your not gloved hand, Laura, is, I'm getting little bubbles here as well because it's all going through that little, you know how sometimes you just get, especially on like the lines of a 20 ounce, you know how it has that seam around the bottom and then you get the little air bubbles coming up through? Got the same situation happening here. Okay, I'm going to let that spin for the rest of the live, and then we'll have a look at it at the end and see if it's pulling away. And I'll use that as an example. But that is the base coat of our Designer Live cup. So the reason, one of the reasons why I decided to extend this live and show you some other bee projects as well was because had we only done the cup, that'd be the end of the live. See you later, bye. We've been going for what, 18 minutes. That'd be it. It's done. So, just to drag it out a little bit more, we're going to do some other projects as well. So, give me one moment. I'm going to click you over to this screen just so I can move you around. And fix you up. Okay. Welcome back. Okay, now I've just got to move you down. And I apologise about the mess on my desk, guys. I'm currently in the final stages of putting together. My son has his first competition for the season, for the cheer season. Tomorrow it is a virtual competition, so they filmed for it. Mid-June, I think, from memory. Sent the submissions in, and then they put it all together. They judge it, and then they do like a live stream of all the routines. So we don't actually know the results of the competition yet, but it's called the Icebreaker. So to celebrate the fact that even though the world's still going to hell in a handbasket, we still have the opportunity to have virtual competitions. I made team gifts. Oh yeah, I've got one, I'll show you. I made little team gifts for everybody. So he's on 2 teams. So that totals, there's 26 kids and 4 coaches. Right? So that's what they look like, their team colours. And then I even put a little lobster clasp on there so they can put their cheer bow on their keychain and it doesn't get lost. Because everybody buys the same brand of cheer shoe. And the cheer shoes, they're Infinity branded. They come in their own case. So every training there's like a sea of shoe bags, but they all are the same, either black or black and red Infinity bags. So I thought this would be a good idea because everybody can put it on their shoe bag and then everybody knows what's what. Okay, we're not going to do the acrylic cup first because I have already pre-mixed epoxy for the coaster. I mixed the same amount as when I was doing the cup, and I don't want it to turn while we're doing the design. So let's do that first. I am using just the circle mold that you get from LBB Resin. I do prefer to do my honeycomb coasters on a circle, but you can definitely do them on a square. There is no, I mean, you could even do it. So I'm just moving you guys around so I'm on screen when I do this. You could even do geode, you know, the set of geode coasters, and do them as honeybees as well. Nicole, he has a lot of fun, and it's not like shaky pom-poms anymore, especially in like the higher levels in level 5 and 6. The athleticism that goes into these human beings is not natural. But my little man, because he's tiny, he's 10 years old, but he's built like a 6 to 7 year old. He's tiny. Hi, Amanda. Because he's one of the smallest on his level 1 team, he actually flies, which is one of the people that they put up in the air, but he won't be a flyer forever. If he's still doing it in his teenage years, and he hits his growth spurt finally, he'll end up being one of the big, strong, muscly bases that throw all the ladies up in the air. But, I mean, even tumbling, if he doesn't stick with cheer, I'd like him to stick with tumble. Because, he works hard to get his skills, but he also has a natural talent and a natural flexibility to allow him to progress a lot quicker than normal as well. So, especially lately, because he's copping a bit of shit at school for being a male cheerleader, because kids are mean. Every time that I see somebody do a backflip or a back tuck or something cool in a movie or a TV show or on an ad or anything like that, I'm like, hey, Logan, see, like, you could be a movie star. And I'm trying to explain to him that it's the skills that he's learning aren't just cheerleading skills. Like, he can be an extra or go and work for the circus or, be a street performer, whatever he wants to do with his skills. Keep at least tumbling, because once he gets a little bit of height and a little bit of testosterone behind him, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I have fun watching him. His twin sister used to do it as well, but she's dancing this year. She did cheer for 2 years, and now we're doing contemporary. And I love my daughter, but her talent was definitely not in cheerleading and tumbling. But surprisingly, and she's not a coordinated person by nature, she's a bit like her mother, but surprisingly, she's doing really, really well in contemporary. She's actually thriving. So there you go. Okay, so this is Aussie Gold. This is also what we'll be putting over the top coat of our chocolate brown. Right, it does have the old label on it, but this is one of the mica powders, and it is mica. It looks like glitter, which is why I love it, but it is pigment, right? It's just not ground up so much. You can get it from Anna in Pack to the Crafters, but it still has her old Together We Create label on it. Stunt acting, exactly right. Nicole, are you talking about cheer with Navarra? Is it Navarra cheer? I watched that as well. Just don't get too attached to Jerry, because I did, and then a lot of stuff came out when that show went to air. Straight into the mould. Isn't it gorgeous? I love this mica powder. Any opportunity I have where I can use this one, I do. Did anybody watch when we did it in Aussie Tumbler Makers? I think it's on my channel now too, because I put everything on my channel because I'm a YouTube slut. And I just steal content from everywhere else and put it on my channel. But when I did my cardstock split tumbler for the intermediate series, this is the mica powder I used in that one as well. Fun fact. So if you're paying close attention, you've already seen this one in action. What's it called? Do you mean the TV show or the mica powder, Emma? The mica powder is called Aussie Gold. Sorry. I'll hold that up again. Aussie Gold. And it used to be from Together We Create, but she's now rebranded to, well, technically Kiss My A.R.T, but Pack to the Crafters is where you need to... Oh, Emma, it's just called Cheer. C-H-E-E-R, Cheer on Netflix. And their team, I mean, obviously Americans go a lot harder at it than the Aussies do. Australia's still trying to catch up in regards to the sport. But they're what is considered level 6. My son's level 1. So he's still got a fair way to go to be up to where they are at. But holy cow, man. The things that these people do. Oh. Okay, so our coaster is poured. Once that sets on Sunday, we'll go through the next steps of that. Push that to the side. Okay. So, with our coaster and our soda can, what I'm about to show you, I'm going to do off camera on those two projects, and that's because to be able to come back on Sunday and do the top coats, they need a coat of spray paint. So instead of dragging it out any further, I'm just going to spray paint off camera. Okay, so once you have your base coats on and it's cured, right, or you've demolded it and it's ready, you're ready to put your design on, because the honeycomb technique is a peekaboo technique. I don't think I've done, oh, I did a wood grain peekaboo, didn't I? I don't think I've done a peekaboo yet. I've done plenty of peekaboos, I mean, on a tutorial. Unless you're watching and you're one of my OGs from PPM, in which case you will have seen me do quite a few. Ta-da! Just going to move you up. You can hang out with the nuke skids. There we go. Okay, now I have already pre-cut. This one is getting the actual hexagon honeycomb pattern. Okay. I am using Cricut removable vinyl. I'll see if that picks it up. See, that's the pattern we're using. I usually like to use Metamark M4. But I've run out. I didn't have enough to do, because like all of these pieces were 6x12, and then what we're doing on the other cup and on here was 6x12. And I only had like a little bit like this left. So I'm using the Cricut removable vinyl in true Cricut fashion. I'm sorry if you like the vinyl, I don't. It's not going to stick to the transfer tape. So I'm just going to quickly make it do what it's told. And to get this pattern, all I did was I went onto Google. I typed in B honeycomb pattern SVG, and it came up with a whole bunch of them. I just picked one that I wanted, put it into my Silhouette Studio, traced it, and then just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Okay, so that when it cuts as the full pattern. So obviously when we put this over here, once we do the top layer and we peel this off again, these white hexagon patterns will be this part. This is what you'll be able to see underneath. Okay, whereas when I was trying to explain the lines before, and I haven't weeded this yet, but hopefully you get the idea because the camera picks it up. Right, see how the lines are thicker? Please focus. There we go. See how the lines are thicker, right? So instead of peeling up the spaces, I'm going to peel up the actual hexagons themselves so that it leaves that line, that outline pattern, and that outline pattern will be the brown. So it's just a little bit different. But once you have your honeycomb pattern, you can place it wherever it likes. That wasn't level on the turner, can you see that? It's all run. It's got, I mean, it's still, it doesn't have a big butt. It's just, it's all migrated. Okay. I'm going to place this right here. Any peekaboo that you do, bee themed or otherwise, please use removable vinyl. If you have to use permanent vinyl, Godspeed, my friend. I've done peekaboos with permanent vinyl before if I've run out, and honestly, as long as you put the design on, you spray paint, you do your top layer, and then you peel off the vinyl all on the same day, you can get away with it. But if you put the vinyl on and spray paint it, leave it a week, and then come back to it, that vinyl set, man, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get it back off again. Removable vinyl, however, is very cooperative. Okay, so there's our first bit. Going to put the second bit on the other side. Or do I want to continue? I think I might continue my pattern. Oh, look at that. I had the foresight to use transfer tape on all the pieces. I don't have to reuse that. Ah. Afternoon me was obviously running very well on her coffee. Look at her thinking ahead. I'm so proud of her. Okay. Oh, no, one more. Because I reckon if I have one big chunk on this side, then that gives me this space here to put a design, like some wording or something. Don't actually know what I want to do with this one yet. See? We'll go one last piece. Does anybody have any questions? Where did I get my cup stand? This was actually made by Tanya in Sparkle, or not her, her husband. She was selling them. I'm not sure if she still is, but it was $50 including postage. And it's like these bits here move in and out to be able to adjust to whatever cup you're using, and then this whole piece here slides up and down to a 90-degree angle, so you can angle it however you need it as well. But I would just message her, tell her that you saw it in one of my videos, and is she still making them? If she is, you're in luck. If she's not, DJ and Raw also sell cup stands. They're just not like this with the adjustable bits. Oh, she is. There you go. Never was very good at Tetris. There we go. So as you can clearly see, it doesn't matter how you cut your pattern, right, into what size you put your pattern. You can manipulate, like I just did there where it didn't quite all fit together. You can manipulate your pattern, because it's a seamless pattern, to where it all looks the same. It's like mermaid scales, right? Doesn't matter how you cut your vinyl, you're going to be able to match it all up. She doesn't have a page. Her husband makes them. She's in the Sparkles by Carby group. She's an admin there if you need to find her. But she doesn't have a page. You just got to message her directly. But if you go to the Sparkles by Carby Designs group, she's an admin there. Her name's Tanya Meerton. Okay, so we have our design. Now the next step from here will be, and I'm going to do it this part now, because I will forget otherwise. I'm going to tape off just around the top where the frosted bit is. This is a double-walled acrylic cup, so it can have epoxy on it without the condensation of the drink inside messing with the epoxy. I forgot to mention that. It is a double-walled. But it does have a frosted band around the top. And I'm just going to tape it off just so I don't get any resin on the inside where it threads on, like where the lid screws on. Okay, so from here, oh, and I didn't put epoxy on the bottom either. I left that blank. Okay, so from here, I'm going to spray paint it white. And then once that's done, I'll be back on Sunday to show you how to put the top layer on. We're going to be using alcohol inks on this one and the coaster to match, just to show you how I normally do my bees or my honeycombs. And then our chocolate brown soda can that we did today is going to have this gold as the top layer, so we will be doing mica powders as well, but this will get spray painted white, and that will be up to where you see next. Now the coaster and our brown soda can is going to have, once they're both cured, they're going to get their vinyl put on, and they're going to get spray painted white as well. And once all that is done, I will be back on Sunday night at 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to finish these off. So we're going to do inks on this one and the coaster, and we're going to do mica powders on our soda can, and then that will be the tutorial finished. So that's all that I have for you tonight, is the base coats and the putting on of the vinyl. Does anybody have any questions? Peekaboos are pretty straightforward, right? There is a lot in the process, right? Which is why I couldn't fit it all into a live, because you think you've got a day for putting on your base coat. Once that's done, you've got to put your vinyl on and you've got to spray paint it. And while you wait for the spray paint to dry, that could be anywhere between a couple of hours to a day, depending on how long it is or how late in the afternoon you spray paint, so you've got to leave it overnight. Once the spray paint's dry, you've got to go in and put your mica powders or your inks or your glitters or whatever over the top of it. Wait for that to dry, do your first coat of resin, right? So it is a bit of an involved process, but peekaboos aren't an overly complicated one. I will say though, if you want to do a double glitter peekaboo, which is where you do the base coat as glitter and the top coat, that like the color that goes over it to create that peekaboo effect, is also glitter. They can be tricky. They can be a real pain in the bum, especially depending, like if it's a super intricate design. If you've never done a peekaboo before, I recommend doing it the way that we're going to finish off on Sunday, which is where you do glitter as the base coat and you do the alcohol inks over the top. And once you get used to the process and you've got the process down pat, then swap the inks out for glitter then and have a go. I'm not going to be doing a double glittered peekaboo in this tutorial. If it's something that you are interested in, I can do it, but the process is exactly the same as what we're going to be doing, except for the fact that you use Mod Podge to apply your second coat of glitter. So once this is spray painted, you Mod Podge it and it's dry, you Mod Podge it, you put your glitter on, you wait for it to dry. If you don't have a steady hand, wait for it to dry. If you do have a steady hand, you can take the vinyl off after you've put your glitter on, but then the vinyl comes off after you've Mod Podged over it and put glitter over it. And that's why I'm saying it's a little bit more tricky than just doing inks or mica powders, because obviously you've got that thick layer of glitter. You've got to really know where you're going. A good little trick to that is, if you've got a hot glue gun, every time you place a bit of vinyl down, put a little dot of hot glue on it, so that when you Mod Podge and glitter over it, you're still going to have the lumps and you're going to kind of know where to stick your weeding tool. But that's really all you're missing out on, is the process of applying glitter. But the process is exactly the same.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello. One day, soon I hope, One day I'm going to find intro music that I actually like. And it doesn't feel cheesy or elevator-ish or... But we're going to do part 2 of the Designer Live that we started on Friday night. The only steps from tonight moving forward that I'm not going to have on film is resin. It just needs final coats of resin. But that is our honeycomb pattern that we did with the chocolate brown. That's all been covered up with white spray paint now. We have the acrylic tumbler that we did with the Aussie Gold. Right, that's got its honeycomb pattern on it as well. And our coaster had some bubble issues. Right, wrong way. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. But we're still going to get the look that we're going for. Now, because we are doing our Designer Live with all mica powders, which is this one, we're going to put Aussie Gold over the top of it, but I'm going to do it using the tacket method. So we're going to paint this with tacket first, put it aside, finish the other two that have inks, and then at the end we'll come back and finish this because the tacket will be dry. And I've just realised we're having that issue where the comments don't want to load. So, give me 1 second. It's so hit and miss, isn't it? Some lives, I can see you on my screen, and some lives I have to watch you on my phone. I'm just going to turn my volume down. Sorry, guys. Dorothy, Belinda. Hi, Belinda. Nicole, Karen, and Rebecca. Okay, let's get started. There's enough of you here to get started. Hello. Belinda and I have been talking a lot on my YouTube channel. I recognise the name. Hello. Okay, so if you didn't catch part 1, it is floating around in the group somewhere. We did that. We started 9 o'clock Friday night, and we basically did the base coats of all of the projects that you're going to see tonight. They've now been finished off and all covered in white spray paint. So tonight we're going to do like the top coats, and then we're going to peel away the vinyl and show up the peekaboo. Okay, so with all of my magic buttons, we want that one and that one. Hello, I'm just going to turn the light on. Okay, so when I'm applying mica powders with a brush, you can do it with epoxy. I like doing it with tacket. I mix mine at a 50-50 ratio, so half tacket, half water. You mix it really, really, really well till it's all combined, and that's how I like to do mine. If 50-50 is too diluted for you, try 2 parts tacket to 1 part water. Okay, now this is the tacket. It's Aleene's tacket over and over. This is the glue that we mean when we say tacket. So the tacket method or anything like that, it is this repositionable glue. Now this stuff is like gold at the moment in Australia. So if you can't get your hands on tacket, and there are a few people that do usually stock it, but they're, you know, sometimes everybody's just out of stock all at the same time. If you can't get your hands on this, you can get this from Spotlight. It is the Express It Gold size. That's just what it's called, right? I don't remember how much it is. I'm sorry. But if you can't get tacket, try this. This does not need diluting. It is already thin enough, but you use this in exactly the same way as what you'd use tacket. In my experience, you do need 2 coats. When you use the gold size, so especially if you're doing the tacket method where you put the glitter on and rub it away, I've found that you do that once and then you have to go over the glitter that you've just rubbed away with another coat of the gold size and do glitter again, and that will give you better coverage. So it's not as good as the tacket, but it is a worthy substitute. Okay, you can get that from Spotlight. Hi Natalie. Hi Andrea. And guys, Andrea's daughter Emily is also in one of Logan's cheer teams. So her daughter also came, the team that they're in together came first in the junior level 1 division. They got 3rd grand champions in the entire level 1 division, which is all ages. And then they placed 5th in the top 10 of the entire competition, which actually means that they were the highest scoring team at our gym. Because we got a 5th, a 7th, an 8th, and a 9th in the top 10 at this competition. So congratulations. Okay, so we're going to paint this with tacket first. Put it to the side and then we'll finish it off. I have taped around the bottom here. Again, as I mentioned, I like to have that silver bottom. And you'll see I have spray painted the bottom by accident. Now I have overspray. That'll come off with acetone. But I'm going to put... not super thin, but not super thick. Hang on, I'll turn that off. Okay, and so, as you would do with Mod Podge, you want to try and apply it nice and evenly to where you have minimal streaks. Okay, which is why diluting helps. You can use Mod Podge if you want to. I just don't like how thick it is. Plus the fact that if I use tacket, because it is like not as gloopy, right? When you put your tacket on, we're going to leave this to dry. And once it's dry and it becomes that tacky, that tacket over and over, right? That's when we put the mica powder on. Now, obviously, I can dip my powder brush into my mica powder, put it onto the cup, and then I can put that same brush back into my mica powder. You're not going to be able to do the same thing with Mod Podge, because obviously you have to do that while it's still wet and it's gloopy. Right, it's thicker than tacket and it is gloopy. So please keep in mind if you do it with Mod Podge, if you have a container of mica powder, tip some into a little shot glass or something and use it out of that so that you don't contaminate all of your storage container of that color with the Mod Podge. Okay, that looks... I'm just going to use the light from my ring light just to make sure I've got everywhere. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side. That is still wet. By the end of the live, it should be dry. And we can finish it off. But that is the Designer Live Cup, right? If you missed Fridays, during last week, I put a little picture up where you could pick A, B, or C, and it had 3 different types of cups, 3 different themes, and 3 different mediums. I tallied up all of the votes for everything, and the winner in each category is what we're creating, and that just happened to be a soda can. So it's a 17-ounce soda can, a B theme using mica powders. Okay, so that has mica powders on its base, and then it's going to have mica powders over the top. Now, to try and drag the live out a little bit so it wasn't, especially Friday, it wasn't all over and done in the space of 5 minutes, because all we had to do was put mica powders on 1 cup. I also did this Aussie Gold that we're going to put over the top of our Designer Live Cup. That is what is on the inside, the base coat of this cup. I then put the Honeycomb pattern onto this in the last live, and since then I've spray painted over the top. Now that will match our coaster, and we're going to do the top coats with inks because I wanted to show you how I usually do my honeycomb patterns. Now usually I put a really yellow gold like this as the base coat, and then you put the design on, you spray paint over it. That's how you get your Peekaboo. And then I do inks over the top. Now the 2 that I like to mix up, the majority will be Tim Holtz's Butterscotch. Please focus. Right. And coming in as the complementary colour, we've got the Peach Bellini. Right, now this is the same one that I do as my undertone on my two-tone wood grains, if you've seen that. But you want it in. Oh, also get your spray alcohol. Whoops. Makeup sponge from Kmart. I just cut them into 3 pieces. And we're gonna, whoop. Let's do it in frame, shall we? Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? This is what I bought these for occasions like this. Okay. So, Tim Holtz Butterscotch. Let's try again. There we go. Okay, with a makeup sponge, you're just going to build up the colour. Once you've got one area done, we're going to spray it from a distance with alcohol until you start seeing it separate a little bit. See that effect? Please focus. Right. You don't want so much alcohol that it spreads right out and you get like that alcohol ink effect that we all know and love when you spray it with alcohol. You just want it to separate a little bit. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. There we go. I was trying to figure out why I wasn't getting much colour. It's because I didn't have much colour on my sponge, or duh. See, pretty honeycomb. Hi from Tassie. Whereabouts in Tassie are you, Karen? Sorry, just catching up. Yeah, Natalie, they did really well. Between you, me, and a brick wall, and not any of the kids, I was actually surprised. I knew that it was not going to be a huge competition like the physical competitions were, but some of the gyms that we came up against are known to take the wins all the time. So, and we had a couple of teams that actually came first. Every team placed. I don't want to say funnily enough because that sounds mean, but yeah, funnily enough, every single team that competed from our gym placed somehow. But his teams did especially well, and I am one very, very proud mum. He got spoilt yesterday. He got to have like a spring-loaded free play session after we had the viewing party for the competition, which is like a flip-out trampoline place combined with a Ninja Warrior course, combined with tumbling tracks and gymnastics equipment, and right, it's free play. He can do whatever he likes there. So he got that, and then we went to Subway for lunch, and then we ended up getting KFC for dinner with the rest of the family. And we just took a day to celebrate him. And then about half an hour before he went to bed, he turned into a little turd, and I was like, oh, there we go, he's back. It's over now. It was short-lived. Almost there. Ta-da! So that is Butterscotch, and that's, I think it's the perfect honeycomb colour. Oh, and I should mention, right, remember how we kept our bottom clean? That actually has a coat of latex, liquid latex over it at the moment, and I will peel that off at the end. Hi, Liv. That's okay. I started about 2 minutes early anyway. Kim's here. Hi, Kim. Hi, Heather. Yeah, I agree, Natalie. It's probably one of the quickest lives Friday that I've done in a long time. I think we only hit like 40 minutes. And that was with me adding to it. Okay, so this is the Peach Bellini. And I'm just going to pick where some of the darkest spots are. Just to try and blend it through. See? Not all over. See if I can get it to show up without the light. Hang on. Please focus. Might be better in the daytime, but see how that's more brown and that's slightly more orange? I am creating dimension, I promise. See, look, you can see there as well. See how that's more... See the two different... See, I'm not crazy. It does make a difference. Not much, but it does make a difference. And I'm just doing this in random spots just to try and blend it through and add a bit of dimension. But that is our honeycomb. Okay, and then as promised, I'll show you. This is a really good trick for the inside rims of cups as well. I'm gonna have to take my glove off now. See? So that when I spray painted and put the inks on, I didn't wreck my nice clean bottom. See? Liquid latex. I got mine from a special effects and costume shop on eBay. But yeah, it's a good trick for doing the inside rims. I don't have any cups on hand. Oh yes I do, hang on. Right, you know when your cup is on the turner and you get it like resin and shit on the inside here, right? Use liquid latex on those bits. Obviously you have to put your cup turner attachment or your noodle or whatever you're using on the cup first and then put it on. Please don't put it on and then put it on your attachment, because you peel it off as you put it through. Okay, so that is that one done. And now our poor little coaster. I'm gonna put another glove on because I don't want to be... I'm finally getting my nails done tomorrow. It was supposed to be last Thursday, like Thursday, last Thursday of the school holidays, which was 2 Thursdays ago. And then Mum and Dad didn't make it back in time from their holiday, so I rescheduled it to last Thursday. And then she had to reschedule it, and it was supposed to be Friday morning, and then she had to reschedule again, and then it had to be tomorrow morning at 9 AM, and I was talking to her this afternoon, and it looks like that's finally going ahead. But I don't want to go to... I haven't had my nails done in years and years and years and years and years, but I'm just really sick of seeing my ugly hands on camera. So I'm getting my nails done so I don't have to look at my ugly... Well, not as ugly hands anymore. But I don't want to go there and look like an Oompa Loompa. I'm just going to quickly catch up on comments. Northwest Coast in Tasmania. So that means you're closer to... You're the Hobart side and not the Devonport side. Is that right? Or do I have it backwards? No, Hobart's on this side, I think. maybe. It's a bit embarrassing. Right, so again, just adding dimension. Spray that to blend it, and I didn't spray our cup either. So I will go through and do that as well. Okay, now the fun part. The Peekaboo. Liquid latex does work on glass as well, Nicole. Yep. Hang on. Without knocking anything over. Reach. Oh, that's the one that I use. And I found that on eBay. I think from memory it was maybe 15-20 bucks. But I have had that, like I've been doing this over 3 years now. I've had that for at least 2 years. I use it all the time and it's still about half full. So a little bit does go a long way. Okay, now I did take this off when I spray painted it. Hi Joe, all good. Friday night we did all of the base coats and everything. This is, well, the other end of the Peekaboo, where we Peekaboo. Okay, so with a weeding tool, a pair of tweezers, a craft knife, something, you want to start peeling away your design. And this is where I was saying on Friday, using removable vinyl is going to be the difference between you having all of your sanity and you having none of your sanity left at the end of it. Especially since we put this on a Friday night and now it's like 48 hours later. Permanent vinyl will have adhered pretty good by now. The lag is super bad. Maybe go out and go back in, Natalie, because it's not showing lag on my end. But I know I was watching a replay of a live earlier and it was taking ages to load. And that was a replay. So I think they're going to up. Like it usually gets, it usually gets pretty bad when they're getting ready to update the app again. Oh, look, I did. I stabbed myself. So now I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing and pick away from my fingers. Come back after dinner. All good. Half hour from Devonport. Okay, so I was on the wrong side. See, we're starting to get our honeycomb. And this is the same mica powder that we're going to do for our top coat. It's not glitter, it's mica powder. But isn't that pretty? It's one of my favorites. Did anybody get up to anything on the weekend? Just while I'm picking away, let's chat. I can see Sorella's watching. Sorella's kid does cheer as well. She's in a different team to my son. She's a senior level 1, whereas my son's a junior level 1. And they placed first in the senior level 1 division, and they got 7th in top 10. So her team did quite well as well. I know that that's pretty much all I've been really talking about tonight, is this cheer competition, but oh my word. My daughter started cheer in 2019, and obviously that was a normal year. There were no virtual competitions. We didn't even know the word COVID-19. And she had 5 physical competitions that year. And then obviously last year hit. We did have a couple of virtual competitions, but really nothing to write home about. And because we were in lockdown, and so was pretty much the entire planet, all of our routines and everything were being taught through Zoom meetings, and it was just an absolute mess last year. So this competition, I mean, especially for Logan, because he started cheer last year, but he's still waiting to attend his first physical competition. It was a long time coming for this weekend, and they all worked so hard. And they were supposed to have a physical competition at the end of this month, but because of what's going on in Sydney, that was actually confirmed as cancelled last week, which is a bit of a shame, but not anybody's fault. We're all feeling it at the moment. I'm just grateful I'm not in Sydney. You attempted your first Tumbler, but it didn't go very well. Live and learn. Belinda, are you BJ's Handmade on Instagram? Can you let me know if that's you? Because somebody tagged me in their photo on Instagram and said it was their first Tumbler, and they did really well. Obviously, you know, your first Tumbler, there's going to be things that you'll do again, and there's going to be things that you won't do again, and that's how we all learn. I still have that happen. If I try a new technique, I learn what to do and what not to do. It is you. Oh, okay, good. It's because you tagged me in it, and I was like, I don't know who this is, but they obviously know who I am. But honestly, you haven't done a bad job. Like, if that's your first Tumbler, I love the design. So you haven't done too badly, and don't be too hard on yourself. I was doing glittered wine glasses before I started doing tumblers, and my first glittered wine glass was a yellow wine glass. I didn't have a Cricut machine or anything like that, and I drew with a Sharpie the letter K on some masking tape, cut it out, stuck it to the glass so that it worked like vinyl, glittered over it, and then peeled that K that I made out of masking tape off the top of it. And that was shonky as shit. One of my best friends, I made it for her, and she was very nice about it, but from that first cup to what I've made now, just give yourself time. But if that's your first one, you're not going to have any problems at all. But that is our coaster. So, and yes, I know we've got bubbles, but I didn't think you guys would care that much. From here, I will wait until tomorrow. I will spray seal it, and then I will dome it with resin. Okay, so we'll put a photo up once it's all done, but that is our honeycomb pattern on our coaster. It is going to look the same on this. I am not going to do this entire design on the live. Please don't panic. That would be boring. I am going to peel a couple off just to waste a little bit more time while we're waiting for the tacket to dry. And then we can finish off our Designer Live. Now, if you remember when we did our Designer Live cup, it still has the honeycomb pattern, but I wanted to try, because it was the first B cup that I'd ever done with all micas. Because remember I said I usually do glitter as the undercoat and inks like this over the top. Right, so it will be my first all mica honeycomb cup. I wanted to experiment a little, and instead of having the gold on the bottom like we've done with the coaster and the acrylic cup, I've put a really nice chocolate brown, and the pattern that we put on that will be that chocolate brown peekaboo is like the line work between the hexagons and not the actual hexagons themselves. Looks like a little face. Remember how I said I wanted to keep it semi-transparent because it is a double-walled acrylic cup? That's what it looks like when it's... So you can see my toner attachment through there, and then that's what it looks like when it's solid. So it still does have sparkle to it, but obviously it's going to reflect on whatever drink you fill it up with. Shoe vinyl. Like so. Your daughter is meant to be having her first calisthenics comp. Can you please explain what that is? Is that like fizzy? Is that what they call fizzy now? Or physical culture or whatever it's... What is calisthenics? I have never come across that word before. Can you please explain to the dummies what that is so that we can... I'll mark it in my calendar and I'll make sure I make a big deal about it, but I want to make a big deal about it knowing what it is. Okay, so that is... Right, and if you see that pattern, you can still see the vinyl. Right, oh, I'm going to fix that. I don't like that at all. I'll do that right now. That's ugly. There we go. Okay. That design, if you see the vinyl, goes right the way round. Right, and then I just have between here and here. Whoop, knock the keychains down. That's how much room I have to put whatever design or name or something that I want. So it wraps about 2/3 of the way around the cup. Okay, let's pack all this out of the way. Because we're about to make a mess. Okay, so our Aussie Gold mica powder. And I will show you, just to prove it. It does say mica powder. I'm not full of it. It looks like glitter, but it's not. Here is our cup. Alright, I use a blush brush. I think it's a blush brush. It's a makeup brush. Okay. And you want to apply it in a circular motion. And this will be a testament to how well I painted the tacket on. I'm going to pour it. There we go. Okay. I think I want 2 coats of this though. I don't think one's going to be enough. turn the light on just because you'll see all the little fly, right? You'll see it all flying everywhere. And I love watching lives when people do this and you can see the little mica powders flying everywhere. I think it's lots of fun. So, if for nobody else's enjoyment but mine when I watch the replay. See them all? I'm a child. See, it's not getting the solid coverage that I would have liked. It's still gold, but it's more champagne looking than like solid. And I wanted this. So I'll take off one section and see what it looks like. And if I don't like it, then I'll do another coat. I feel myself going to sneeze. I can feel it coming. It's building. Sticking to the bottom a bit better. Let's try smushing. Nah. I'm gonna see how it's still very. I'll wait for it to focus. See that? Oh. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought that was going to have a much bigger wow factor than it did. But I'm going to second coat it. But it's gymnastics, dance, and physical mixed together, as well as a few other items that use rods and clubs. That sounds like fun. We don't have anything like that here. She's right. Oh, I wet my brush. Bugger. Quick, Laura, think you're live. Okay, paper towel. We have paper towel. That sounds like fun. You know, I saw on a TikTok the other day. I get my pleasure from other areas in life that are not exercise. I will never be the kind of person that wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, goes for a run, or takes any great deal of pleasure from doing any form of exercise whatsoever. That's just not me. But this is Tuck It again, guys. I'm going to go in over what we've just done. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker, and I'm not going to wait for it to dry. we're going to see what happens when I put it on while the tacket is still wet. Because I'm about ready for a new brush anyway, so I don't mind if I ruin it. But yeah, on TikTok I saw the other day, a bunch of these women were in like this dance studio and they were doing a routine, but they were attached to a bungee cord that was attached to a ceiling. Has anybody seen that and know what I'm talking about? How freaking cool. I'd give that a crack. I'd probably end up with broken bones and a broken nose or something stupid, but I'd give that a crack. That looked like a lot of fun. I mean, they made it look a lot easier than it probably is, but don't burst my bubble. That looked like so much fun. It might actually make me buy a pair of exercise pants and join a class. Wouldn't that be something? But no, that looked like a lot of fun. I want to give that a crack. There is a place in town that does, they call it silks. Is it silks? Like what Pink does at her concerts, that stuff. But I'm pretty sure I'd exceed their weight limit. I think it's just more for kids at the moment. So maybe I can con them. I'll just start sending them emails asking if they have it. And then maybe if I email them enough times, they'll just have it. I'll email one day and they'll say, yes, you finally wore us down enough. We have it now. There we go. That was the effect I was looking for. That's heaps better. Can you see them, Nicole? The little floaties. I just think they're a lot of fun. I really like that. Look at that. It's still splotchy in some places, but I think I like it. I think that looks way better. I mean, in hindsight, I could have spray painted the top coat gold and not white, and I probably wouldn't have had the troubles that I did, but you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. Hindsight's 20/20. Speaking of eyesight, I actually ordered contact lenses. This mask bullshit, I'm over it. I'm over not being able to see because my face has decided to become a sauna and my glasses are all fogged up and I can't see 2 foot in front of me. And then I have to take my glasses off because they're all fogged up, and guess what? I still can't see 2 foot in front of me. So I ordered contacts, and I think for the short term at least, I'm going to go back to wearing contact lenses. Because I had to start wearing glasses when I entered 7th grade. So I entered year 7 with a bob haircut that barely passed my ears and a pair of glasses. Yeah, man, I started high school off strong on There's only one photo of that time period in my life that exists, and it's me holding a koala, and my son actually has it as a photo on his bedside table, and I'm just waiting for the day when he's old enough that he doesn't want it there anymore and I can destroy the last piece of evidence of that time in my life. But I wore glasses all through high school, and then when I left high school, I switched to contact lenses, and I actually wore contact lenses all the way up until my kids are about 2 and 3. And then I went back to glasses because being a single mum, you've got no money to buy contact lenses all the time anymore, and glasses were just a cheaper option, and I've been doing glasses since. So I bought myself a month of dailies because I figure I'm not going to be wearing them every day. That one box, like the 30 days, should last me at least 3 months. I'm going to try and stretch them out at least 3 months. Ah, look at that. Okay. Ta-da. Looks so much better. Okay. now that I sufficiently look like I have the Midas curse. And I'm going to be finding Aussie Gold. That can go in the bin now. Aussie Gold in my keyboard and on surrounding positions for days. That's Peekaboo. Ah, Peekaboo. Most states in Australia have clubs. It's an Australian sport not owned anywhere else in the world. I'm going to look into it, Emma, because you've piqued my curiosities. See you later, Nicole. Okay, I'm going to have to turn the light back on because I can't see shit. Okay. She puts mica powder over wet tacket and then wonders why the tacket is still wet when she puts her finger on it. I'll tell you what, she's a smart one. Intelligent, that one. Okay. Have to try and do this now with a wet cup. I'm gonna get my tweezers. Where are my tweezers? They have forsaken me. Nope. That doesn't even make any sense because I never use them. Just don't know why they're missing, but here we go. We're going to improvise and use a pair of pliers. Here we go. I just need enough of the design lifted while it's still wet so that you guys can see. And so that I can see and find out if my design was a fail. We have made a start! I'm really bummed about the comments. I have to keep going out and refreshing and coming back in. Haley, all we did was not wreck the cup would be nice. I did it with tacket, right? So, but it was a white base. So if I was to do this again, this is what I mean by we are always learning. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. If you're not learning, you're not living. But tonight I learnt that the tacket method that I use to apply mica powders usually is still effective on a Peekaboo cup. Like you can do micas as a Peekaboo. But if I was to do this again, I would spray paint my top coat gold and not white. I did white because I am a creature of habit and you need a white base to do the inks that we did earlier, which look like this. So if I was to do a double mica again this way, I would spray paint gold and not white. But I just put tack on the cup, waited for it to dry, and then applied the mica powder with a blush brush, like a makeup brush. That is when I realized that it didn't have the effect that I was hoping for. I'm absolutely destroying my hands for this poor lady. Tomorrow I'm going to have to explain to her what the fuck I've been doing with my hands. But yeah, it didn't have the effect that I wanted. It was very transparent's not the right word. It was still very white under the gold, right? So I put another coat of tack over what we'd done, and while it was still wet, I went crazy with the pigment powder, and that, oh no, is what you now see here. Okay, the next time a bit snaps, I think we'll leave it until it's dry, and I'll come back when it's not so sticky anymore. But you can start to see our chocolate brown coming through, which I think, I mean, once it all comes off, I think it's going to look really, really good. And I think we made the right choice by doing the pattern in reverse instead of doing it the same way that we did with the others where we used the hexagons. I mean, it's going to take me forever because the design starts here and wraps around and finishes here. Right, so I've still got all of that to peel away, but I think it's going to be worth it for the final effect. What do you reckon? So I'm going to wait for it to dry because look at my hands, right? I'm now covered in tack and micas and bleh. So I'm going to let this dry so it's not so smushy with tack and mica powders. And once that dries off and it just has that repositionable tack, I'm going to come in. I'm also going to find my tweezers because the pliers just don't cut it. And I will work on taking all of that away. Once that is all done, it gets a spray seal just so that none of the gold mica goes traveling through my chocolate brown. It'll get a spray seal, and then I'm going to do a coat of resin. So I will put a photo of this one up. I'll probably, that'll get a top coat tomorrow. Our acrylic cup will get a top coat tomorrow. This I'll probably only end up spray sealing tomorrow, but I'll take a photo of all of it before I put the final coat on this, just so you can see how it ended up. But that is your Design Alive cup. So once that all comes off, that chocolate brown is going to be our honeycomb pattern, and that is what we ended up with. What do you reckon? Can you flash me what mica you used? The chocolate brown underneath was nut brown from A1 Pigments, and this gold on top is Aussie Gold. Right, that's Anna's Aussie Gold. So she used to be Together We Create. She's now Kiss My A.R.T by Anna. But if you jump into her Packed to the Crafters, not Rafters, jump into that group and just message her from there. I'm pretty sure she still has some of her old powders still in stock that she's going to be adding to the relaunch. So just ask her. It's called Aussie Gold. That's also what we used on here. That's Aussie Gold, and that's Aussie Gold on an unsprayed acrylic cup because I wanted it to be see-through. Okay, but that is all I have for you tonight.